Welcome back to A Moment with Miranda, where we take a few minutes to reflect, reset, and remind ourselves that we are enough. Today, I want to dive into something that can make or break our relationships and our growth: honesty versus transparency. Now, they might seem like they're the same thing, right? I mean, we tend to use them interchangeably, but they're actually quite different. And understanding the difference is key if we want to create strong connections and move forward in life. Let's start with honesty. Being honest means that if someone asks you a question, you answer it truthfully. Honesty is about being open when prompted, but it's also kind of passive, right? It requires someone else to know to ask a question. Honesty is reactive. It's waiting until you're asked to share what you know. Transparency, though, goes a step further. Transparency is about being open without waiting for questions. It's sharing important information right from the start, giving people the full pictures so they don't have to dig for the truth or worry about what's going to be left out. Transparency is proactive. It's choosing to communicate openly before anyone has to ask. Let me tell you about a recent experience that recently drove this home for me. I was involved in a project, and there were a few people who had crucial information that would impact everyone else on the team. But instead of being transparent, they held on to it. They thought honesty would be enough. So when questions finally started coming their way, they answered them truthfully, yes. But by that point, so many issues had already piled up: miscommunication, stress, and confusion, and it took over because they hadn't been transparent from the start. The whole situation ended up being way more complicated than it needed to be. And all because of this simple difference between being honest and being transparent. And why don't we lean towards transparency more? I think a big part of this is fear. Being transparent feels vulnerable. It feels uncomfortable to just lay out all your cards on the table without knowing how others will react. When you're transparent, you give up some control. You're saying, here it is. No secrets, no filters. And that can feel risky. But here's what I've learned: when we choose transparency, we build trust. And that can feel really, really good when we open the door to stronger relationships and better outcomes. Transparency removes that guessing game, the second guessing, and the what ifs. It allows everyone to operate from the same page and that same understanding. I want you to think about this in your own life. How many times have you had a misunderstanding that has happened, not because somebody wasn't honest, but because they weren't transparent? Imagine a work project where critical information was left unsaid, or a relationship where unspoken thoughts led to assumptions. How much simpler, how much easier would things be if we just put everything out there on the table from the beginning? And this isn't just about avoiding problems. Transparency allows us to live more authentically and more openly. It's about saying, this is who I am, and this is what's going on, and this is what you need to know. And that, honestly, real honesty, strengthens our relationships. People will trust you more. They'll respect you more because they don't have to worry about what might be hidden. When you're transparent, people don't have to worry about how you'll react. So, my challenge to you, to myself, is to practice transparency. The next time you have information that might impact others, try sharing it up front. Don't wait for questions. Give the full picture, even if it feels a little vulnerable, even if you're worried about how it might be received. Because when we choose transparency, we show up authentically. We build trust, real connection, and real growth. Remember, honesty is a great start. There's nothing wrong with honesty. Keep being honest. But transparency, that's where true connection happens. That's where we move forward together with nothing hidden, no guessing, and no unnecessary complications. Thank you for spending this moment with me. Keep growing, keep being real, and remember, when we're transparent, we make space for the best kinds of relationships to thrive. And as always, remember, you were always enough, babe. Always.